What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be discussing and reviewing Iann Dior's On to Better Things. I know that this video is something that I've wanted to make for a long time, and now that we finally have the album, I can finally give my thoughts and my opinion on the album itself. Was it worth the wait? All of these questions. So we're going to dive on into this, guys, with the main theme and my main thoughts on this album, which I really do enjoy this album. It's honestly my favorite Iann project so far. Obviously, my opinions can change because this album's only been out for a weekend so far, but just based off of the vibes and the switch up and just everything that Iann did on this album compared to his previous releases like I'm Gone, Industry Plant, or even Nothing's Ever Good Enough, this album definitely showcases a more versatile Iann. It definitely showcases growth with him in his voice and also in the style of tracks that he chose to drop on this album. I'm honestly a fan of both sad Iann and this like new punk rock, or the newer punk rock Iann, and then just the whole new pop vibe that he went for on this album as well, with songs like Is It You and Let You. I'm really a fan of all of these. I also am a fan of the punk rock, like I said, with Obvious, The Thought It Was, and Hopeless Romantic. Some of those are my favorite songs on the album. But you can't forget just like the classic Iann tracks where we got songs like Options or Heartbreaker that I feel like fit a little bit more down Iann's original lane, but they're definitely still different than what Iann used to do. I would say some of the stuff that is more similar to Iann's older releases is stuff like Complicated, or even just like one of the singles for the album, V12. I feel like those definitely fit the old Iann vibe a lot more than what he was going for on this album with stuff like Let You or even Free Falling. Overall, I think that every style Iann tried to do on this album, I think he gave us a good quantity of each. We got some of the original sad Iann, we got some of the pop Iann, and we got some of the rock Iann, which honestly all kind of mixed together well. I remember one of my main complaints for the OG album we were supposed to get that was supposed to have some like pop on it and then rock and then Spanish songs or whatever that was supposed to be. I remember that was one of my complaints, is how are they going to be able to mix all those sounds together? And if they were going to do something like this, it might have worked, because I genuinely do think that this album is structured good to where all these songs and all these vibes fit one theme. Now, was the project worth the over 2-year wait? Because if you guys don't know, Industry Plant released at the very end, November 8th of 2019, and then we've been waiting ever since then for a full-length Iann project like this. I would say that I don't really know if it was worth the wait, just because of a couple things. Definitely the style that Iann went for in this album. Everything that he went for in this album was perfect, and I think in that sense, yes, the project was worth the wait, because we got this huge jump from Industry Plant Iann to OTBT Iann that you can definitely see a change in him as an artist. But with the actual track list on the album, only 15 songs, 2 of these were singles beforehand. That's the only little annoying thing, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. This album went through so many changes, and I'm just glad we finally have it. Whether we get like a deluxe for it or whatever happens with that, or if he drops Rebirth next, I'm just excited that we got this album and that it turned out how it did. A couple of the main songs I did want to talk about are Regret and Complicated. These were my 2 album grails after we found out Never Mattered couldn't drop, because Joe Kenji already used that beat on his last album, and I'm just really glad that both of these songs made the album. I was kind of scared for a minute that Regret wasn't, because Iann was talking about adding Relapse on the album, but obviously it all turned out good. Complicated was basically just confirmed to be on the album. It was one of Iann's bigger snippets that everyone wanted him to release. I'm still not even sure why this wasn't a single for the album. And then Regret is definitely a lot different of a vibe than I was expecting in the snippet. In the snippet, it sounded like it was going to be more of just a original Nothing's Ever Good Enough Iann type vibe, but it definitely is a lot more like poppy than what I was expecting with the verses on here. And obviously it has a second verse, which I wasn't expecting until right before the album released, when everyone was saying that the song was over 3 minutes long. The verse definitely surprised me. It wasn't what I was expecting, and the whole song itself wasn't really what I was expecting, but it still came out good, and I still enjoy that song and the album itself. It was just a little bit of a surprise and a little change up from what I was expecting. But yeah, overall, I think the album is a great album. It's my favorite Iann album so far. That obviously might change after a few months go by and there's more time to sit and look back on all of Iann's projects that he has released so far, but at the moment, it's definitely a top tier Iann project. I'm really glad with how the track list came out, how the rollout ended up going, because obviously it was just a mess at the beginning, but once we finally got through all of that and we got this new release date for January 21st, the rollout went good. I enjoyed seeing like the On to Better Things trailer, the Complicated vid, all that stuff is really cool. But that's all for this video, guys. I enjoyed the album. I will definitely keep On to Better Things in mind for when we're doing the best albums that released in 2022 at the end of the year. But with this being said, guys, I will have more videos coming out soon on what Ian's working on next, whether it's going to be an On to Better Things Deluxe, Rebirth, whatever he ends up wanting to do. I'll obviously have videos releasing on that as soon as possible. But with all this being said, guys, thank you for watching. Please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Late beats, this go crazy.